read a book the other day, and it was about London, and in like the Docklands, which is now the modern Docklands, where you've got like Canary Wharf and what have you, and you've got all these people wandering about in suits, usually from Marks and Spencers, and nice ties and etc. Could actually be, in fact, just mere coat hangers levitating around the area with suits on them, because invariably you kind of end up sometimes in a bar at 5 o'clock on a Friday when they all come out, and they don't really talk about anything other than the work, so it's like you may as well just go into like Top Man or whatever, or Zara, and just talk to a suit on a coat hanger. So they do actually, they remind me of like levitating coat hangers. I've often wanted to get a very large pole when they've come out and try and gather them all up on just a pole. And then when I've maybe it could be a pole vault, the length of a pole vault, and when I've got them all on a pole, I can simply just push them all off into the Thames and drown them, which is nice. But I'm not a violent person, but it was just an idea. And to be like this streetwalker, hooker, or whatever you'd like to call it now, a lady of the night, and she was on the Docklands. She was there in the early 19th century, which is 1800s to 1850, and unfortunately she was stationary. She couldn't move because she had two earrings in, but her earrings were like two big like anvils. Do you know the anvil? Those like iron anvils that are like cemented onto the dock of the quay side, just so you can tie the rope around them to make for moorings of ships, and she couldn't do it because these were like her earrings, and she was like just literally attached to the like she could just sit. All she could do was just sit between these two heavy anvils. But she had people that came there to like dress her up, and like the Queen has people, doesn't she, that dress her up. People came there to dress her up, put even underwear and wash her. She used to have like a bed bath or whatever to keep clean, and people usually under cover of darkness would just wander down there and pretend to trip up or whatever, or pretend to be like lying down over the quayside, but on top of her, looking for like saying, "Oh, my mate just fell in. I'm just like looking over," but really they're like doing her, and it's a bit rude, but that was her life, and that's what she wanted to do, and she wanted to, and people, it was reported in this book and they said to her like, "Well, why have you got like earrings like that if you can't go anywhere?" She said, "Look, fashion comes first, and these are very fashionable, and I'm one of those people that are like, I say what I think, and that's it, and I think fashion comes first, and I don't care what people think about me." And I said, no, not me obviously, but the book was that good that I felt like I was there myself. That's why I was like saying me, but obviously I'm thinking about, this is what the reporter was saying. He used to work for the Times, I think, whose son later covered the murders of Jack the Ripper. They used to like rip stuff open, didn't they, in like boxes and stuff. He used to have about 10 birthdays a year, because he had some special like grant to like facilitate this, being able to have so many birthdays, and he were given loads of boxes, as presents, and he ripped them open really excitedly, and that's why they called him Jack the Ripper. Anyway, moving back, this slag, she was there, and he must have been on the game for a good 50 years, but when like they started to redevelop that area, this is pre Canary Wharf, this is because I think they're like putting a load of sand and like claimed land back from the sea like they've done in Holland, and then they started building terrace houses on them, didn't they, for like people that work in that area, and then consequently that was bombed and flattened in the Second World War. But yeah, she just lived for the clients, and I've got my own personal clients, although I don't offer a sexual service. I offer like a service with teaching or whatever, or language consultant, as it were. And one of my clients said to me the other day, in a very serious tone, "You have got a good knack. What you do is you bore people." what you do is you intentionally bore people, and you secretly like derive pleasure from it, because you just go off on one, and you're boring them, and you know that you're boring them. And if I, this was from a personal experience, if I could see like the side of your lips sort of turning up out of pleasure because you're watching people suffer at your behest. But you're good at what you do, but you do sometimes lapse into like these little interludes of intentionally boring people. And then that was like a workshop in a way, because she said, "I hope you don't mind me telling you that," and I said, "No, it's fine." But it was nice that the person was so honest with me. But not what I've derived from that. What, on reflection, in retrospect, not only am I boring, but I'm facetiously boring in order to feed my own personal amusement, according to this person, and I had no idea. So, but by and large, the person's extremely happy with the service, but the person wants me to understand that I do have an inbred need to be boring in order to keep myself entertained. Por dentro. It's a lovely word, that, in Spanish, isn't it? On the inside, por dentro. As though we were like a premises for a business, indoors, isn't it? But I didn't think that I was boring people. But now I'm a sadistic bore that's not only doesn't do it because they can't help it, but a person that does it on purpose to gain some kind of enjoyment from other people's suffering and misery and angst, which was nice. It was definitely an eye-opener.